Alrighty, good morning. This is the notes that you are getting ready to take today as an introduction to just basic web design. Um, and this will lead into our little storyboarding assignment that you will work on later in class. Um, the first thing you see here is designing your page. The very first step is design for a computer medium. Uh, According to this book, Principles of Web Design by Joe Sklar, um, your a computer screen is not a printed page. Okay, readability changes depend on color, layout, and format, and different browsers and screens and displays can change how a page looks. This is comparing it to um, what a page would look like on your screen as compared to an actual printed page itself. Uh, how we read text, if you're reading like a normal book in American culture, it says following normal reading habits, the user's eyes move from left to right. Normally, if you're reading a book, you read the text from left to right. But if you are viewing a screen, if you look at the screen, you scan in a more clockwise pattern. If you look at that shape that you see right there, you kind of focus more in a circle and you read the information in more of a circle. Now, when you're designing your site, you will need to figure out how will your users read or view it. It says if a page uses a lot of text, the user will read in a more traditional left to right manner. If a page has more graphical elements, the user is more likely to take in the entire page. If you notice when you look at my website, it is a lot more text than graphics, so you are expected to read that from left to right instead of in a more circular manner. Um, And this little graphic right here is the accepted relative areas of importance. When you look at a website, the middle area where the number 1 is, that's generally the most important part of the page. That's where most of the information is located. Your heading across the top is obviously the second most important. A lot of times there's a debate about whether these other ones uh, are in this particular order, but the two most important ones that I want you to get out of this one, out of this slide, is that the middle part is the most important and the top part is the second. Now, before you design a website, you do want to ask yourself a few questions. First off, what is the purpose of your website? Who is your main audience? Who's your secondary audience? And what information do you want to present to that audience? When you design your site, when you begin to design your site, you need to plan the site's hierarchy. And we'll look at a couple of different uh, graphics in a moment that display hierarchy. But you want to figure out how are your pages linked together, how many links are there exactly, and where does the user go next. In this, whenever I design a site, this is the structure that I like to use. And when you create your storyboard, this is one thing that you will have to diagram out. Your main part right here, which is generally considered your home page, and then you have each of these sections below it, and those are some of the individual pages in your website. In this case, they're creating a website about themselves, and they make a page for their work, class, play, family, and just me in general. And then below that, you might include all of the different content from each page. Now, this structure is not, I don't use this one as often. You may find that it works for you. You would have your main page at the top, and then you would split off into a couple of different topics right here. You might have your work topic and then a topic about yourself. And under work, you would talk about your classes and a sample of your work. And then when you're talking about yourself right here, you may talk about things you like to do for fun or your family and things like that. Step 3 in designing your content, it says the do's of a good web design. These are just a few hints. It says name files consistently and logically. This will be a big thing that we get into when you do start designing your pages. You want to keep a consistent look and feel. You don't want to have one page look one way and the next look completely different. Use colors that are in high contrast and design for low bandwidth. That means when you're designing for low bandwidth, that means that you are doing stuff, you're designing for the people who have a slow internet connection. If you're able to design something well for people who have a slow internet connection, then you'll have no problem with the people who have, high-speed internet connections. More things that you should do: use active white space. That means just leaving. Uh, that means just leaving blank area for those people that would that or have trouble focusing on one part of your page. Design for interaction. Use hypertext linking effectively, and design for accessibility. A few things you should avoid, or the don'ts. This is: don't overuse media. Don't put too many graphics. Don't put too many videos. Don't make users scroll too much. When we did your website evaluations, we talked about that a lot with a lot of people's home pages, where people had to scroll way down to get to all of the content. Don't flood your pages with too much content, and don't choose colors or images that make the page hard to read. Also, don't forget to title everything. That includes your images and your pages. That's a part of accessibility, as you have learned. And don't assume that your users know where to go. And in big bold letters there, you see "don't use frames." If you don't know what frames are, that's fine. You're not supposed to use them. And getting started, you want to select a design tool or a program that you can use to design your pages. Starting out, we're simply going to use Notebook on your computer. You also need to determine your page layout. Reread assignment sheet and rubrics. When I give you an assignment sheet in this class, make sure you read that, and also make sure you read the scoring guide that goes along with it, and consider how to present you. That's the content and information that you want to get across to the people that are reading your website. And that is the end.